I'm going to take you somewhere that most people are not allowed to go to, and that is the steam hauler project. Now, I don't know if you can fully see all of this. There's like a train, but with tracks on it. Absolutely incredible. Come down to Grandview Museum because we've got lots going on here. One of the things that I find most interesting in traveling around is that you don't realize all the history in all the museums and all across the country and the little nooks and crannies and things that you find. We've stopped at so many museums and it's so interesting every single time. And so today I'm here at the Grandview Museum with Lyle. Hey, Lyle.
Yeah.
We just met today, but he's been showing me around here, and this is a fantastic museum that you have to stop at if you're traveling through Manitoba down Highway 5. I think we're on Highway 5.
Yes, we are.
That's what happens when you live here. You forget what highway you're on.
Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to take you around, show you a little bit about the museum. You have to check out the website as well, which we'll include in the description below. But this is a fantastic place to come and check out. Spend time with the family. It's a great place to take a break, and it's quite affordable. How much does it cost?
$5 for adults, kids are free.
All right, so let's go check it out. One of the things that threw me off when I first came here is that their first main admission building here, it looks like every other high-end museum that I've ever been to.
Yes.
And like, this looks amazing.
Well, this building and what's in it right now, replacement would be about $1 million.
Wow.
You know, it was half that when it was done. Luckily, the Burrows family, TA Burrows, which was big history and logging industry in this area, that's how it was started, was to preserve a lot of that history and local history also. So their family got involved in it and made it happen. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this building.
They did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Let me show you around here. The video doesn't do it justice, so you got to come down and check it out. So they're obviously into logging.
Yeah, so that was the big business that Burrows run. There were 1,000 employees in Grandview.
Wow.
Logged up to 13 million board feet a year. Set up a big sawmill. Started with horses, logs. That's TA Burrows with the coat there. Started in Grandview early 1900. Was here to 1918. Then they moved to Bozeman and then on to the Paw. And right because the lumber was running out close. The trees were.
Right.
Because they didn't clear cut it. They only took picked trees. They had to be a certain size.
Okay.
So they did a job, and there's actually on this wall over here, I guess it shows the size of the mill. This whole area where the museum is right now is this little spot here. So this whole area was the Burrows logging operation. It's with the main sawmill down here, piles of lumber. This house is still there. It was Burrows' house. He built it to live in when he was in Grandview. It's right across from the swimming pool. And they had 2 sawmills here. They're in that picture over there. One burned down, so then they built a bigger one. And you can see by up there the amount of logs that they had. It's amazing the amount of manual labor involved.
Oh, I can't imagine.
At the end of the day, nobody had to go to the gym. So Burrows was pretty popular, and he got into politics. This is his history. He ended up, member of Parliament for the Dauphin area, and in 1926 he was Lieutenant Governor of Manitoba.
Okay, so I'm curious what this thing is over here, because I've never seen one or used one before.
It's a steam generator. So when they switched from horses hauling logs, like in the pictures here, there's many horses hauling logs, to a steam engine. Steam engines use a lot of water, but in the wintertime you can't put cold water in them because you'll break them. So you had to have warm water. So that heated water for the steam engines, and then they would replenish the water. It was like 15 miles from here in the bush. That thing weighs like 5,000 pounds empty.
And so you had to get it out of the bush.
We hauled it out of the bush. It was quite a job.
I think that's one of the most interesting things that all you historians do when you're reclaiming and building museums and stuff is all of this stuff is not just sitting in nice locations. You have to go into the bush back to where it was being used and drag it out and restore it. And yeah, it looks great right now. I'm sure it didn't look like this when you found it in the bush, though.
No, it didn't. And there's a log splitter on this side that went with it for splitting lumber for wood for the steam engines. So it split on both sides. One side went down, one went up. I don't know how many people lost their fingers on that. But again, the steam engine required a lot of wood and water to run. So they'd have to fill it up about 15 miles from Grandview to get to Grandview, and then they'd fill it again.
Oh, okay.
So they would haul up to 10 or 12 sleighs behind it. They probably replaced 30 or 40 horses each trip. Plus, you didn't have to rest it.
Right.
You know, a lot of them people lived in logging camps in the bush, like on the wall there. It's hard to imagine now. You look at the size of them, and people would, there'd be 50 people in one of them little buildings. We set up a replica camp here just to kind of show what it was like. With, there'd be some of your socks and your underwear drying, and everybody living in there, and no showers. Fancy old train, and the hotel's still in the same spot. It's a different hotel, the same spot. And the rail you see over there, that was what was used in the yard to move the small loads of lumber around the yard.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why it's so small.
It's like a half size.
Yeah, they loaded lumber on it, and then they pulled it with one horse down to where they unloaded it or whatever.
Okay.
This picture here shows Grandview from the end of Main Street here, and you can see the smokestacks in the background. That's Burrows Lumber. That was the sawmill behind right at the back end there.
Yeah.
So it's quite a different looking Grandview. And a couple of the buildings are still here. The one next to the water tower there, that building is still on this street. It ended up being a Monarch Lumber, which was owned by Burrows Lumber.
Okay.
They owned a lot of different businesses, lumber businesses.
Yeah.
And Burrows Lumber is still in operation today. They have an office in Winnipeg, and they run out of Winnipeg, a broker lumber now.
Okay.
Their brokerage. And around the corner, we moved into a little bit newer sawmills, more of the 1930s to almost today, of local people that had sawmills. We have a map of all the different sawmills that we could trace down.
There's actually a lot of sawmills.
Yeah, like they went away up into the Duck Mountains, and the purple lines are where they hauled with the steam hauler down to Grandview. So, but their first sawmill the Burrows had was away out by the South Park, because they logged into the Riding Mountain to start with. Okay. Because there was no band there then. Yeah. So they actually started in there and floated them down to the river and down the river. They quit floating them down the river in 1910, I think it was, because they were losing too many logs, because the river wasn't a steady enough volume of water.
Yeah.
So. I
was told, this was one thing that I was told about. I don't know which group it would have been, but it would have come out of TTR. Mm-hmm. One of the creeks, they had built a dam on the creek.
On the river, yeah.
On the river.
On the Valley River, because see the Valley River comes right into Grandview here, yeah. Down here. So it starts up here, which is Burrows Lake, okay. Which is called the Upper Dam, yeah. By a lot of people. And there was actually two dams. The first one was down here, and then they built the bigger one here. And it's still there today. It was beefed up in the 60s by PFRA to conserve water and back water up, and then they could release it down the river for the farmers. Yeah. So it's still used today.
And so then they would flush logs down the river this way?
Yeah, they'd stage them on the ice, and then they would open the dam up and bring them right down.
Wow.
It's amazing how they did that. And talking to the modern day loggers that are working here now, like Louisiana Pacific and them, almost all their roads they use as haul roads were surveyed by Burrows. He picked the best place. They were high ground. Yeah. I know I talked to the guys at Louisiana Pacific, and they're amazed that he didn't have GPS and drones and everything like they do now. Yeah. And they did that because he was a surveyor to start with.
Okay.
And he picked out all the best lumber in Manitoba. It went up another block and a half.
Oh, so
So that there was no houses here.
they had lumber way up there.
Yeah, way up
All
on
of this
that
was
hill,
lumber.
right? Like it gives you an idea how big an area it is.
Just looking at the lumber mill right now, because outside we're in this one building here. But then if you turn around and you look on the other side, we've got the baseball fields and recreation and everything here now. And then there's houses and everything here. But back in the day, this was all lumber stacked up here and ready to be put into the sawmill. But I'm going to give you a quick tour of what you can see here at the Grandview Museum. I'm going to go through some different buildings real quick. We'll get a little montage for you, cue the music, and we'll be back with one other thing that we think is very exciting and you're going to want to see if you stop in here. They would fit like a whole family inside of here. And I can't imagine. You have to be very close to your family. Okay, so we're in the original building, and it's a small Quonset, and there's just stuff packed in here all over the place, lots of very cool things to look at. But one of the highlights of this building is this printing press over here.
Yeah, the Grandview Exponent was the local paper, started in 1901, and we have copies of almost all, there's a couple missing, of the papers that were printed right up till they shut down a couple of years ago. So people come in and want to know, you know, a death announcement or a wedding announcement. If they know what the year is, we can find it. And
Cool.
so it's just kind of amazing that we got to keep this and that big printing press didn't get destroyed. And these papers are archived in the city, so they are on file at least somewhere else too. So
Right.
it's an amazing part of history.
You can come on down here and find out what happened in Grandview on your birth year. There's about 7 main buildings here that you can look at the Grandview Museum, and I'm just walking over to the car shed right now. And one of the unique things about the car shed is not only the stuff inside, but I'm going to show you something on the outside that I have never seen before. So this is one of like 700 that were made. It's actually a John Deere pedal bike. I've never seen that before. If you want to see it, you got to come down to the Grandview Museum. I was pleasantly surprised by this building. And I think that's one of the big thing about museums and why I like them, because it doesn't matter where you are, you always end up going and checking out different places, and they always have buildings. It's like when we went to Crazy Horse for the very first time we went in there. And it's like, okay, there's a little museum here, and then, oh, there's a door in the back. And so you go in the door in the back, and you take a look around, and just like, oh, there's another building, and another building, and another building. And same thing here at Grandview, we're in another building. But this one has got snowmobiles. And not just one snowmobile, but a lot of snowmobiles, all the way around the top. One thing that's unique here I've never seen before in my life, and I didn't even know it existed until it was pointed out to me, but Harley Davidson made a snowmobile and it actually has a twist grip. Snowmobiles don't typically have twist grips unless you put them on. And this one has a twist grip.
Yes, similar to a motorcycle. So they are quite valuable because there wasn't a lot of them. And anybody that has a shop and has a bike or two would like to have one for a showcase up on the wall.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so they're hard to find. And
did he own this one? Like, was he the first buyer, or how did it
no,
come?
this guy bought it used. Had it in his shed, was quitting farming, didn't know what to do with it. So we convinced him to put it in here till he decided, and he still hasn't decided. It's still here. It's been here for, I'm not even sure how many years, more than 10.
Nice.
So, it's just great.
There's a ton of other snowmobiles out here that I'm sure you may or may not have driven before, like this John Deere sled up here.
Yes, Alouettes were popular at one time, and of course the Ski-Doo were very popular.
I was trying to see, we had, like I grew up driving a Ski-Doo slope nose, but it wasn't.
That was newer than that.
It was, I don't know if it was newer. It looks, the seat on this one looks a lot newer.
Okay.
And of course, in this same building, there are a ton of tractors as well. For all the farmers out there. I know my father-in-law will know a story behind every single one of these.
They all run.
Yeah.
That one at the end, my dad bought it brand new in 1952.
This
Went
one.
through a couple different owners now, but it come back in here for retirement. So up above it is one of the first Ski-Doos that was made, 1959. It's a steel body, and they came with wooden skis. Now the story on this one is that the kids used it so much up and down the road they wore the skis out, so they had to put newer steel ones on. You can see how they evolved from 59 to 64, got more of a round front.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is that I have come and I am of the age now that things that I have worn in my lifetime are now in museums. So I did, like when I was a teenager, I had this Ski-Doo suit, this exact one. It was about 5 sizes bigger than this because it was given to me by a friend of mine who's a much, much, much larger guy than I am. But yeah, that exact one, that's cool.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, we try and preserve what history you can. Yeah, it's 1916. Waterloo Boy was making tractors, and small company, and John Deere bought them out and started producing similar type tractors.
So were they originally green and yellow?
As far as I
Water
know,
Boy?
some of them I think were gray to start with, but ones I've seen restored are mostly the John Deere colors. Same.
Okay. Every time you go out to a museum, you learn something new. So go out today to a museum and learn something new. And if you want to learn something really new, come down to Grandview Museum because we've got lots going on here. I'm going to take you somewhere that most people are not allowed to go to, and that is the steam hauler project. Now, I don't know if you can fully see all of this. Like, you can't, because there's this whole piece on the front here. The person up front, sitting in this box here, they would steer the front skis of this steam hauler. And then this whole contraption here is like a train, but with tracks on it. Absolutely incredible. These tracks alone are supposed to be like 2,000 pounds. And the main conductor dude would sit up in this box up in here, and then they would pull up to 16 loads of logs out of the bush, all the way down from way in the ducks, all the way back here to Grandview. And absolutely incredible. It's a crazy machine. It's got to be what, 25, 30 feet long? And then with all of your trains, each one of these trains is 20 feet. So 20 times 16, you do the math, how long of a train that would be with all of these logs coming out of the bush. So this whole area, everything you see behind me here, is all where the sawmill was. Incredible how large this space would have been. Just outside the museum, so you've got the mud bog pit here where they have the mud bog, and the museum is right there in the backdrop. And they have this walking trail, beautiful walking trail that goes down the river. And you can walk here, and they have a train bridge where the train actually still runs. It's old school train bridge here. Check this out. Absolutely amazing. And if you're here and you stop in here, take a selfie with this mural, tag us in it, Grandview Museum. Beautiful painted mural here right on the edge. It's one of those hidden wonders that people don't even know exist. So I've spent all afternoon here at the Grandview Museum, and it's been a blast. I've learned a lot. I'm definitely going to come back and bring the family here. And it still amazes me all the time that there is so much to learn just within this little area. And we don't even realize all of the places and all of the things that are happening. Even just coming to little town of Grandview Museum, absolutely awesome. So if you're museum hopping, if you're checking out places this summer, you gotta come, put Grandview on your list. You gotta come down here and check it out.